All right. So the next part is spreadsheet applications, right? Uh, so normally we use a spreadsheet or this application to do kind of a math work as well as recording ledgers, right? So term spreadsheet. Yeah, so we can create these things. So I have uploaded this document to the LMS, right? This presentation file, PPT file. So you can go to that one. So in the spreadsheet, it's an electronic document that we can use for that one for store various type of data in the boxes. So normally we call that boxes as cells, and this is a more. I mean, initially this kind of application was used by the persons who keep ledger documents, and ledger books, right? So this is an electronic version of those ledger data, right? And yeah, so this is an old ledger book, right? And this is the view of a spreadsheet application. Right? So both have same kind of architecture, and both have rows and columns and information within a cell. I mean, within a small box, right? So yeah, so that was similar view and architecture. So these are the commonly used, available spreadsheet applications, softwares, right? So Microsoft Excel, Numbers, Calc, right? And so Numbers comes with the Apple operating system, and Calc Open Office, and Lotus, IBM, and yeah. So right. So there are several applications for this purpose, and yeah. So to open this one, so these images are very old one. It's saying to open Microsoft Excel to 2007, right? So anyway, so nowadays we are using 365, Office 365. So most of the basic functions and options are still available in that one. I mean, Office 365 comes with Office 365. Other than that, more advanced features and advanced functions are available in the latest version. So, okay, so I'll show you the Excel spreadsheet application. So I think most of you know about that one. Anyway, this is just like I mean, almost all Office applications comes with the same interfaces, right? So this is the first interface which comes with the Excel package. So here you can see the document, I mean the recently opened document and pinned one shared with me document. So that means you can access online spreadsheets, right, which is shared with your OneDrive account. Right. So I will select this option. So blank workbook. Right. The interface has looked like the Word because the header. I mean these toolbars and the ribbon and everything is same like Word, right? So all the tabs have the same names: file, home, insert, row, page layout. Then formula is a little bit different than the Word. Then data. These are specially designed for Excel, but preview, view, these are already available in that. I mean, already they are in the Word, right? So anyway, in the home tab, home ribbon, so the function a little bit different. but it contains the same functions too. The clipboard, font alignment, those are similar, like a word and similar to word, and but numbers, styles, cells, these are a little bit different. So anyway, so this is the workbook. I mean, this is the working area, so that we can insert information over the data within this document. So we call this small box as cell. So in this document, there are thousand and hundred of thousand cells, and each cell has its unique address. So address comes with the column number and the row number, right? So you can see the address of this cell here from the address box, right? So this one is A1. And if you move this cell into another place, so let's say in this place, the address is H5. So address normally comes with the head column number and then row number, right? So this also named as a name box, right? Okay, then we have a formula bar, right? So that means we can write special formulas for these cells. So to do a kind of a math part, so if you are good at writing formulas to, I mean, if you are good at doing maths on data, so you can simply write corresponding formula here, and you can do whatever you want with the data available in this sheet or Excel file, right? So we will discuss about the formula and everything later. So anyway, so this is the working area, and the bottom part you can see a viewing option, right, here. So display option. So you can use the magnifier, or you can change the viewing display option into a normal mode or page layout or a page break preview, right? So this part will help you to see the document in proper way. I mean, so let's say if you want to see the this document as a different pages, so you can use this page layout, and this one is with the page breaks. So currently I haven't used any page break here. I mean, in this document, that's why I can't see any page break. But if you have used a kind of page breaks, so then you can see the different pages. So anyway, so this is the normal view. When you change, right, and then in the left side, on the bottom left side, you can see a name called sheet 1. So this is the name of this sheet. So you can give a name to this entire sheet, or you can go, you can add a different sheet to this this Excel document, right? So that means, so this is like a book, ledger book, and this working area just like a ledger page, right? If you want to add more pages into your book, so you can simply add pages from here, right? And yeah, so this means so you can see a kind of ready and accessibility mode good go to, and like that. So you can enable or disable things here from here, right? So accessibility will enable you to kind of a guidance to work some parts, works on some parts, right? And yeah, so now, so in this cell, within this cell, you can insert any kind of data. It doesn't matter whether it's a text or a number, or any kind of data you can add into this cell. So let's say, so I will, in my first cell, right? So I'll add a kind, so let's, we will make a kind of a data set. I mean, database for our mail merge part, right? So my first cell, in my first cell, I will give title as, sorry, name as a title. Give me a second. I think I have activity. Yeah. Okay. So with this data, so you can use any kind of clipboard action. So that means if you want to move this content into another place, so you can use copy paste option. For that, you can go to home clipboard and then copy. So once you activate a copy function, so you can see this kind of animation. I mean, it's moving, the border is moving around this cell. So after that, you can select the place that you want to move this data. I mean, to copy this data, right? So then, so you can paste. You can select the paste option. So it will paste. I mean, copy and paste the content of the initial cell, right? So you can do that. Let's say if you want to move this content into another cell, so you can use a cut and paste option, right? So you can simply cut this one, and then you can just the content, that content into another cell. So instead of this option, so you can use a keyboard shortcut tool. So that means if you want to copy content, so you can use Control C, and then to paste, so you can use Control V. So to cut, you can use Control X and Control V, cut and paste, Control X and Control V. And there is another way to move this content into another cell. That is, you can move your cursor or your mouse pointer on top of this border, and then click your left mouse button, and then you can move this cursor into another place. And let's say you want to move this data into D5 cell. So move your cursor by pressing I mean the normal key, and then release the key. So press the button. That means so you can jump from this point to this point with the data. I mean including data. So likewise, you can move this content to a separate cell, right? And let's say now you want to copy this content from this part. I mean from here to. So let's say now another thing. So if you want to delete this one, then delete this content, whatever the things available in a cell. So you can simply press, first you have to go to that cell, and then you can press delete key on your keyboard. So it will delete everything available in that cell, right? And also you can use the backspace, but these two functions have two different meaning. I mean, two different activities, actions. The first one, when you press the delete, so it will delete all the things available in that cell. But yeah, you can see a blank cell. But if you press backspace, it will delete the content, but still the cell is activated. That means you can enter anything that you want. You can see the cursor, right? So that means these two keys perform two different functions. First one, delete everything. Second one, delete content, but you can edit, or you can still you have enabled editable function. I mean, you can activate, you have activated the edit function inside that cell, right? So these are two different things. And let's say now in my A1 cell have a word with, I mean, has a word with the title, and I want to copy this content uh, till A10, right? So I want to repeat this word from A1 to A10. So what are the methods that we can use for that? I mean, do this part. So we can simply copy and paste the content from A1 to A2, A3, A4, A so on, right? Or we can select yeah. So what are the methods that we can use? Right? So Excel have very nice tool to copy and move data within these cells. So first one is, yeah, so I'll show you the first step. So first I'll copy this one, then paste, move to this one, paste, this one, paste, like that, right? So I can do that. So for that, I have to go to each and every cell and need to paste whatever I have grabbed into the toolbox, right? I mean, right. So the second part is, second way is, so I can select, I mean, go to the cell that whatever I want to copy, and then, so you can select this small box available at the right bottom corner. So we call this little box as a fill handle, auto fill handle. So that means you can fill these cells by uh, drag and drop, by dragging this small box up to the cell what you want to move, right? So that, I mean, what you want to copy. So I want to copy this content to I mean till A10. So then I will pick this autofill handle and move this this area. I mean this, I will mark this area till A10. So after that, I release my mouse left button, so it will automatically fill the all this area, right? So this is a very hand tool comes with this kind of application. So simply you can fill the data very easy, right? Right. So I showed you how to copy a content, I mean content to different cells. But in this time, so this particular example, these cells contain a kind of text, right? But what happens if we have insert, if we have a kind of number here? Let's say my B1 cell has number 1, and I want to copy this one to number 10, sorry, B10. Right? So I can click this, I mean, I can click on this autofill handle and move this into B10. So it will copy and paste the content as previous way, I mean, previous example, right? So you can simply do that. But in this time, I want to generate numbers in these cells, but the numbers should be as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So how can we do that? So one thing is we can move into a cell into another cell, and we can type whatever we want. So 3 and 4 and 5, right? Right? Or else we can do we can use autofill handle to do this part too, right? So if you want to select multiple cells, so you can go to the starting point and then move your cursor or mouse pointer inside this cell, and then click and then drag and drop, drag to the cell you want to select, right? So likewise, you can select multiple cells, and if you want to delete all these cells, you can just press the delete button, right? So I want to generate sequence, I mean the number sequence from B1 to B10. So with separation of one digit, I mean separation of one value, one by one. So 1, 2, 3, so on. So for that, I want to make, or I want to define. So I have to define first two elements of that array, I mean of that sequence, right? So I want to make 1 and 2. Then I can select both cells, and then I can use autofill handle, drag and drop until the place I want. So it will automatically generate the rest of the things, right? So I don't want to worry about this part. I mean, I don't want to type each and everything. So it will automatically done by the this autofill handle. Right? So what happens? So in this time, let's say we have number sequence like this. So I want to generate even number series here. Right? For that, I want to give define first two elements. Then I can use autofill handle. Right? So this is very easy one, and very easy but very important one. Right? And now let's say we have a number series like 2, 4, and I want to repeat this pattern within these cells. I mean 2, 4, then 2, 4, then 2, 4, then 2, 4. How can we do that? Yeah, obviously we have two methods. One method is typing all these information cells, and second one is we can use autofill handle. Still, we can use autofill handle, but when you use that, I mean autofill handle in normal way, so it will show you. So when you move this your mouse cursor, mouse point by taking autofill handle, so it will show you a number from side, so like 28, 30, 32, likewise. So that means it show you the number that are generated to, I mean up to this cell. But I don't want to do that because I want to paste the same pattern. I want to follow the same pattern, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, like, right? For that, so you have to use another option, right? Call so simply you can use pick this autofill handle from the mouse and then press Control key in your keyboard, right? And release your mouse and the Control key after you reach the point until you want, right? right? See, now this time I have the same pattern 2 4 2 4 2 4 2 4 like this, right? So 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 in the autofill handle, so here you can see autofill handle options. So copy cells, fill series, fill formatting only, fill without formatting, and flash fill. So these kind of sub functions you can activate it through this autofill handle. So now we have used few of these, right? Copy cells, fill auto formatting, and fill without formatting. So that means if you um, let's see, we have changed our font color, and I want to paste this on. Copy this content until this point. So simply I can use this fill handle with it's copying our formatting tool. And fill formatting only, fill without formatting. So when I select fill without formatting, it will copy the content, but without the font color and the functions related to formatting, right? So yeah, so I can do that one. And another thing, so we manipulated or we moved or we worked on different cells. And so as I said you, so this document comes with different cells, I mean different columns and rows. So if you want to select, or if you want to copy entire cell, entire column or row, so first you have to select the entire column. For that, you have to move your cursor or mouse pointer on top of this number. And when you move your cursor or mouse pointer on top to this number, column number, so it will turn into arrow. Right? For a column, it show a down arrow, and for row, it will show left arrow. Right? So when you click on this icon, so it will select entire column. Right? So you can move this cell. I mean, you can move this page from these scroll bars. So it has already select entire column. Okay. So if you want to move entire column into a separate column, into different column, for that, like we did it as for a cell, so we can move our cursor on top of this border and then drag and drop. Really move entire column. So we can do the same thing for entire row too. Right? So probably you will not understand what happens here, but for that we have to insert the different data, name, age. Right? So if I move this, if I select entire column, I mean F column, and I want to move this column into column C. So see now my title and this data. Like this. Right? So I can move. If you want to move one cell, you can do that. This time we have moved the title and we want to move entire column. So that too. And want to move the entire row. So those are the these are the basics. So, right. Anyway, right. So we discuss about most of the report function, and then we have font option. So that means it's related to the appearance of this. I mean, the information of the cells. Right. So you can change the font faces, colors, and everything. Font sizes, font color, cell color. Right. See, so you can change those formattings. Yeah. And if you want to draw borders, so you can do it from here. When I click all borders, so it will draw the borders to each and every cell. You don't want any borders, you can do, right? And then we have alignment option. Alignment means place that you want to store your information within the cell, right? So from this cell, so I have select bottom left side, right? So this is the alignment part. We have six options: one for vertical alignment and another one for horizontal alignment. Right. So in the vertical alignment, I have used a top align, center align, and I can use a bottom align. And for the horizontal alignment, so we can use left, center, or right. Right. So you can pick any of these. And then this is a very important one: merge cells. Merge means you can add two cells together, right? Two or more cells together, right? So let's say you want to add, right? So I'll change the document to it. So I will, so I want to move all this data in place, and I want to select these columns and move next to column A, right? And this is my first name. Second one is last name. I want to give a I will change this into first and last, and I want to give I label this as a name. Right? So when you read this one, so you can see a title, then name first and blank last. But I want to merge these two cells. So after that, you can read it as a name first, name last. Right? So for that, I can use this merge option. For that, go to this alignment and then merge. Under the merge option, you can see four options, four things, right? One is merge and center, merge across, merge cells, and merge cells. So first one, I will pick the first one. So merge and center. That means it will merge these two cells and center the content. Right? If you want to unmerge revert this operation, so you can go to the merge and unmerge cells. make the content or make the everything as original format, move to the original format, right? So I want to merge and center, right? Now, the meaning of these two cells is we have to insert name, but in the column B, we have to insert first name, and the column C, we have to insert last name. So likewise, you can merge different cells. So not only for the rows, but also for columns, you can do it for columns too, right? Right. So the next part, this is also very important one, because all these cells, you can see that the format is in general, right? So that means, so general format means, so this will describe what kind of data or what kind of informations are available in a cell, right? So general means no specific format. So that means we can use text, characters, text, numbers, or date, time, percentages, fractions, right? Scientific data. So we can use any kind of format. So it comes under the general format. But if you want to specify a kind of a data, I mean cell, which comes with a specific data format, so you can label, or you can change that as a number or currency, whatever you want, right? So when you change, this has a different meaning. I mean, when you press 1 here, right, it's still in general format, but when I change it to a number, so it will show you like this, 1.00, right? So that means if we use a number format, so you have to mention the decimal points and everything, right? So particularly if we have a data set like and comes with the numbers, so we have to mention, or we have to change the data format into a number. So let's say we have currency. So when we change it to currency, it will automatically insert this currency symbol. So the default one is $sign, but if you want, you can change this sign into a different one, right? So it is also available under the more number formats, right? So then, so I will change this into a short date, right? When I change my number 1 into short date, so it will show 1 dash. That means January 1st of 19 as the number 1 for the particular data. I mean the number 1, right? So this is the short date form, and short, I mean date format with a long date format. So it will show date, yeah, all the information, day and date and everything, right? And time, it's 12 a.m. It's percentage 100%. So like, that's full. So that means that the one has different meanings which correspond to different data format, right? So this is very important one. Sometimes when you insert a kind of a date, so it will show you a kind of a digit, or when you type a digit, it will show you a date to any kind of format. So now you know how to change those data with different formats, right? So it's very important one. And another thing, so I want to show you another one. Let's see. Today's date is 6. See, so I inserted a date here, today date, but it show kind of shows a kind of 45,022 as an answer, right? But I inserted the date. Right? So like us, if we can change the appearance of or the data format from this point, this section. Okay. This one is also very interesting one. So if you see this kind of symbol or data, all the data with hash symbol, so that means the cell contains some data, but it can't show the data for given space. That means this is particularly comes with spacing, right? So if you see this kind of information, this kind of data, that means you have to increase the cell size. Otherwise, you can't see the original data. But still, you can see the information. For that, you have to go to that cell. In the formula bar, you can see the contents, right? But if you want to see the contents in this page, so you have to increase the space. So that is very important one. And now let's say, yeah, we know about how to copy the content and everything. So now let's say what will happen if we drag and drop this auto will handle with the data. I mean the date data set like date. So I used autofill handle to fill this data, right? So it has increased the month, right? Is that true? It has increased the month. Huh? No, it is not true. Actually, it has increased the date, right? But this date, even I have used O as date, then month and year, but I have mentioned to the word this office package that I am using currently US system, right? So that means according to the US system, first element is month. The second element is date, then year. So it has increased the day, right? It has increased the day, not the month, right? So when you use the autofill handle, it will increase day, I mean the date one by one, day by day, right? Okay, so another thing is, so let's see, we have a number here. So you can increase and decrease this decimal points through these two options, these two functions. So if you want to move decimal point to the left side, that means increase decimal point. So you can simply click on this button. Or else, if you want to decrease this one, so you can click on this function. So these two are very nice tools to represent data in a proper way. Okay. Okay, now we know how to insert data, delete data, and everything. So let's see how to and further functions to manipulate this data. So let's say you want to insert another row in between title and this one. So we can simply select all these things and then we can move the content and the information by one row, or so we can use entire row and then right click on that cell, I mean this row number, and then select insert. When you insert a row or column, so it will automatically insert, I mean, add a new row on top of the selected row. Means so my original, yeah, this row is number 3. But if I insert new row, so now my number 3 is a blank one, right? So all the content and I mean the data and everything has moved to by one row. Right. So likewise, I can add the column 2. I can insert a column 2, right? And also I can delete everything. I mean, delete entire column. For that, I click on the column number and then click delete. Select the delete option. So you can perform these functions from here to insert and delete everything. And you can do the formattings too. That means you can adjust the row height, column height, and auto fit with column width and those kind of things. Auto fit means it will fit. I mean, it will fit the column height and width according to the data, right? According to the data available inside the this cell. So if you want to add this, I mean, change the space of this column, so you can simply select the entire column and then you can auto fit column width, right? So that means it will fit fit the entire column width into with the data available inside this one. See. All right. Right. Then we have a few more options in the home ribbon. So that's from here you can see auto sum function called auto sum. So from this point you can use a predefined equation. So you can simply add a predefined equation to your page, your ledger sheet, this sheet, right? From this point. So I will explain what are these functions and what we can do with this function later. So anyway, so here we have a shortcut for a predefined function. And then we have fill option and clear sort option. So let's say if we have so many data in particular column or a row, so we can use this sort option, sort into this one. So when you sort when you select sort option, it will ask if you want to sort entire column or continue with current selection. That means for this only for this selection or entire page, right? So if you want to change it, expand the selection, right, it will automatically sort. So currently I have only one number, so it's automatically sorted, but you can't see the difference, right? Anyway, so so these are the basic things about Excel. Moving, yeah, discussed about this. Things are close. Discuss. Right. Right. So next one is, so we have to check about the formula. So formula is very interesting options comes with this spreadsheet application, right? So Okay, so I want to change. So I will add another page to this document. For that, go to this plus button at the bottom line, and it will add another sheet. And if you want to delete first sheet, so just right click on this sheet and click select delete option. It will delete the entire sheet. And if you want to rename this sheet, so it is also possible. So for that, right click on the sheet name and then rename. So I'll rename this as a mark sheet. Right. So my mark sheet is index. First cell. I want to insert index first for the first column, and then name, and then marks for mathematics or maths, then science, then let's see, electronic, history. Yeah. So these are the headings of my book. I mean, this mark sheet. And I have students, let's say we have 10 students. So their index are starting with the 23 is the one. And I can use this autofill handle to fill this one. So we have 14 students. And I don't want to name their names because, okay, let's come on. When you enter data, so you can move the cell automatically by pressing enter and tab key. So normally you can use arrow keys if you want to move, but when you move data using tab key and enter key, so it will hold another function. So let's say we are using this kind of information. So let's say, so I will insert the Kamal's marks, maths, so 80. Then I will press right arrow key this time, right? So it will move the cursor to the next one. And for science 50, I'll again press right arrow key and electronics 70, and again press right arrow key. And this time he has his for history 85, right? After that, I want to move this cursor into C3 position, that is this position. For that, I can navigate this cursor or this activated cell using arrow keys. For that, I have to go to down and then 3 left, right? Instead of that, so we can use enter and tab key. So I will show you the difference. So, okay, 85. Then I want to go to the C1 cell, sorry, C3 cell, right? So I want to go, I have to go to down, 1 down, and then 3 left. Okay, so I'll insert a Nimal's mark. So maths has a 75. This time I press tab key, science has 70. So for electronic, he has 65. And for history, he has earned 55. And this time I press enter. So once I press enter, it will automatically move to the initial cell position, but with the different row number. I mean, the next row number, right? So it is very easy to enter data. So when you use Excel to enter different data, so always try to use tab and enter key if you have so many data to enter, and if you have to follow the same structure to fill in data, right? So it will yeah, very easy to enter data for particular sheet with having same filling pattern, right? Okay, so that's it's a little bit weak on math and science. Um, let's say two electrons, 65, and awesome. Okay, so let's say okay, I'll add random marks for these students. Try any. Okay, let's say so we have I'll remove this. So that was all right. Then so my this cell has two. Right. Right. So now I have to find out the total of these marks, right? For that, we have to add this one with this. So we have to add both these elements together. So for that, So I have different ways to do that. Right? The first thing is, yeah, the easiest way is you can use a calculator and you can add this information for this for information, and you can put the value here. So, or else you can use equations, right? For this cell, right? So to insert an equation or to use an equation, you have to follow a kind of a pattern, right? In Excel or spreadsheet application, most of the spreadsheet application, to if you are willing to use an equation, so you have to start it with equal sign. So when you press equal sign, so the Excel and this spreadsheet application know about you are going to type an equation. So that means it needs to activate the math functions and everything, right? So for that you have to type equal sign. So after the equal sign, so you can mention the formula for that. So probably you will get you can give a formula name or predefine a name for a specific function, or you can do it manually by giving cell names and cell addresses, right? So both ways are possible. So we will see the first method using the cell names. That means each and every cell has identity. So I already told you about that one. So these cells, so specifically these cells has identity of address of C2. So if you mention C2 here, right? So it will automatically pick that cell, right? So that means, so if you type C2 without having equal sign, it's just a text, right? But if a particular cell has, I mean, is starting with the equal sign, that means it automatically enable the math functions, and it works in different way. So after the equal sign, when you type C2, so it will pick a kind of a cell with related to that identity, I mean that reference, right? So my C2 cell now has picked, right? So after that, I want to add B2 with this C2 cell, right? So then I have to E2 plus F2. Right. So, right, the total of commerce mark is 285, right? So we can do that. I mean, we can do the same procedure we can follow the same procedure for Niman, Sunil, and other student too, right? So this is one way that we can do. Right? So other method is, so we can use a predefined function for this purpose. I mean, if you want to add some numbers, some cells, or the content of a particular cells, right? So you can use a predefined. For that purpose, there is a function called sum, right? So you can use sum function here, right? When you type sum, so it will show you the available functions comes with this wording some if, some products, right? Blah, 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 so on. So sum is the sum function will I mean, we can use sum function to add different cells or the content of different cells, right? Especially this will work for numbers, right? Yeah, when I type sum and then bracket, So you can see the hint, right? Sum number 1, comma, number 2, comma, number 3, so on. So that means I can give 75 here. That means, so it will take my first element and 75, then 70 here. 65, 55, right? 265, the summation of these four numbers is 265. But I use a different technique. I use some function, but with only with the numbers, right? 75, 70, 65, and 55. The difference between these two, actually these two has two different things. One thing is first one, for the first one, we use this patient type, I mean the reference type function. I mean just we type all the equation by ourselves. But the second one, we use predefined function, right? But let's check. So, okay, I'll do the anyway. So with the first one, so if I change the electronic marks into 75, the total will automatically change. That means we have used a reference. So the function, the function will sum for the add the content of these cells one by one, but it doesn't matter what is the content available in that for a particular cell. So that means we can change the content anytime as we want, right? But for this one, we use a predefined function here, but we use the values here. That means if we change this into another one, this won't change, right? So if you want to change this one, so you have to use the reference, right? So that means we have to use this C3 cell, then D3, then D3, and then F3, right? So when I change now this one, it will automatically change, right? So if you want to change or change the output of a function dynamically, so you have to use reference. So references are very important when you write functions in the Excel environment, especially spreadsheet environment. So references are very, very, very important, right? Okay. So so you can use either method. I mean, you can write a function by yourself, or you can use predefined function to want, right? So then I have to do the same thing for this student. So instead of typing all these things, I can use autofill handle, because autofill handle has a function called copy and paste formula too, right? So that means when I copy this content, right, content of G3 cell, so it will copy and paste the formula available in cells, right? So if you look at this one, sum C11 and F C11, D11, E11 till F11. Right? So this is simply we can use this autofill handle to ease our work. And so we have another way to perform this thing. So I will delete all the content available under the total column. So I'll write another function. So this time I use some function too, but we are going to use a different method to indicate these references, right? So You can use number one, number two, number three zone. I mean, you can state different column numbers here, or else you can state the first column here, and then you can state the end column here. That means, sorry, F2, then colon and F2. Right. So colon will do the job. I mean, if you have data in consecutive columns, I mean, columns next to each other, so you can use this colon sign. So when you use a colon sign, you don't worry about the content or the cell numbers available in between first and end cells, right? So you can simply use colon sign. So when I press this one, it will show you the results, right? So that means summation of these four numbers is 290. Right? I can use this one too. I mean, auto fill handle to fill all these things. Right? So this is also very, very nice one. So simply you can use two methods. Yeah, there are many methods to get take the a kind of perform a kind of a method, but yeah. So this is a way, right? So auto fill handle. So we can use auto fill handle to copy and paste formula to each and every row. But let's say we have a so yeah. For when it comes to referencing, so we can use different ways to reference. So as the first way, so we can use commas, and then we can use this colon to mark up a kind of data set, right? Data available in consecutive, columns, right? And yeah, so let's see. So I'll show you another thing. Okay, so I have a number here, number 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like this, right? So let's say this is a unit price, and this is a UTY. Right? So this is the unit price and this is quantity. So so we have to generate the price here for a particular entry. I mean, for each entry. So that means we can. So the meaning of this one is I mean price. See, so this is not in the correct order. I mean correct way. Anyway, I want to show you the function. Price. So I want to take the price to this column, right? So what I have to do is, so I have to multiply these two, right? So for that I can use equal sign. Then I can select this one. Yeah, so you can type the cell address K3 here, or you can select the cell using your mouse. Right? When you select that one, it will automatically paste the address of that cell. Right? So I have to multiply K1 with this one, K2, right? So after I hit enter, so I can see the value. So this time I can, I want to do the same thing for these elements. So that means I can use the autofill handle. So once you use that one autofill handle, it will give you a different values. That means, so when you go to this cell, so in the formula bar, you can see K3 multiplied by K2. Right? K3 means this cell and K2 means this one. Yeah, this is correct, right? So when you move into the next cell, so it will show you the equation of this cell is K4 into K3. K4 is this cell, K4 is, and the K4 has the value of 1. So that means 2 into 1. 2 into 1 means 2. The third one, 3 into 2, 6. 4 into 3, 12. So yeah, everything is correct, but that is not what we want to do, right? So that means we have to mention, so when we use the autofill handle, the fill handle has automatically increased the numbers, right? 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6, 5, and 7, 6. Right? So it has automatically increased the number, but we don't want to do that for this part. I mean, for in this case, K2 should be constant. Right? So how can we do that? So we can do that using. So if you want to use a particular cell as a fixed reference, so that means when you use a autofill handle, the references are also has been changed as dynamically. But if you want to use the fixed reference, so you have to use $sign before the this cell, right? Before this cell address. So here I have is I have inserted $sign. That means I have to fix the cell. That means I don't want to change either column number or row number. So when you insert $sign, so you can simply use $1 here. So that means you need to fix K. I mean, you don't need to move change this column number, but it will change the row number, right? It will change the row number. Okay, I will show you the right. So now my formula has a K3 multiplied by $sign K means I have fixed the column K, but I haven't fixed the row number, right? And I drag and drop this one, nothing will change. That means it will automatically increase this row number, right? But I have used this one this way, right? So when I drag and drop across the row, so here you can see this column number has changed, right? So in this time, K3, K2. So I have fixed this one. So the autofill handle can't change this part. It has already locked, right? So that means it will increase this part, right? N, then N, then N, likewise, right? So, but for this particular case, I use the autofill handle to, across the column. So that means it will increase the row number, right? For that, I have to use a lock for row number 2, right? So in that case, right, now you can see the correct value. So that means my entire cell K2 has a lock. That means it will multiply a particular cell with that fixed reference. So if you want to use a fixed reference, so you have to use this one. I mean these $signs. So very, very important one. And keep it in mind because most of the time we will forget to use this one and it will affect to all the data and output of the equation, right? Right. All right. So, right. So now we have these total values. Then we want to calculate the average. So how can we do that? What is the equation for average? We have 7, let's say. Sorry. Can't you see my screen? Okay, now it's better, right? Sorry, I didn't see your message. Drag. No, Ravinder, you can use any version, or if you are working on open office, it is also possible, because almost all the functions will work on open office, calc and every I mean Google Docs and Google Sheet and every on each and every one, right? So could you please at previous video recordings assignments? Okay, sure. And yeah. Yes. So there are few ways to do that, right? So average means you have to take the summation of these numbers, and then you have to divide that summation by event, number of events, right? So that means, so you have to take the sum and then divide it by 4, because we have 4 events, right? So to calculate the sum, so you can use 1 by 1, and you can add 1 by 1, or still, I mean, currently we have the sum here in the column G. So simply you can use that one too, right? So you can use G2 divided by 4. So the average is for 72.5 for this student, right? So you can fill that one, and you can fill autofill handle, right? Yeah, so you can do that. So, and there is another way. That means you can use a predefined equation to take the average. There is a function called average, right? See here, average. Then you have to give the numbers. So instead of giving 1 by 1, I'll give C2 to F2. Right? So you can use that one too. So when you use Excel or kind of spreadsheet application, always try to find the predefined function, right? It will reduce the processing power, and because if you, yeah, this is also have a one thing to do, but before that you have to calculate all these things with the sum function. You have to run the sum function, and then you have to do the division, right? But if you use average function, this is a predefined one. So when you type this one, this will calculate by using less processor cycles, right? So each and every time, try to use a predefined function for particular method, right? And it is easy to use. Another thing is you don't worry about the function. I mean, if you have done any mistake here, it will give you your own answer. So, but if you using a predefined function, so you don't worry about the internal networks and everything, right? So it will be done by the application. Right. So, okay. So now I have calculated this one too. Right. So can you show this without having any decimal point? I mean, so in this answer, it shows 72.5. That means it comes with one decimal point. Can you reduce this decimal point? Sorry, Anuradha Amarasinghe. So Anuradha, I missed your message. So we have already discussed with the Hiransu and shifted the exam time to 8. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, that's fine. Then we will start the exam from 8 a.m., right? Right. So I asked you to do to reduce the decimal points. So we can do that using this function, right? Simply we can use this one, right? If you want to add or apply that setting to entire column, so you can select entire column and then select this. Sorry. So because here we have an empty cell. Right, right. Okay, brother. And if you have any issues with transportation and everything, so as I said to you, so you can write to me, and so I'll make a Google sheet with, I mean, in that sheet I'll mention the first student list of for first part and the second part. So if you have any kind of transportation issues and those who have come with a very long distance, so you can write to me. And if you want, I can put you in the second part, right? It is also possible. Right. Anyway, so we have 3 more, I mean, 2 more weeks left. So anything we can discuss. Right. Another thing is, so right. So one way is, so you can use this discrete decimal point, and when you move your cursor on top of this function, it shows a kind of a description, show fewer decimal places. That means it will show, right, fewer decimal places. Meaning of that is the real value of that cell is not the 73, it's 72.5, but it will show as a 73, right? So these two has two different meaning, right? I mean, that function has that meaning, and but I want to show 73 instead of 72.5 here. So how can I do that? Just Google, try to find a function to reduce decimal places in Excel. I mean, try to find a built-in function for that. Couldn't you find that one? So there is a function called roundup, right? So I can use that function here. So equals round up. So then I want to mention the number. So my number is this one, and number of digits 0. So now the value is 73, right? Right. So I can use this roundup equation within this equation too. I mean, we can write nested function inside a cell. It is also possible. So that means I can use roundup. And this is my value. And then I have to mention how many decimal places I want to show my results. Like this. So the difference between these two cells is, I mean, these two cells. Use the wrong cell. Anyway, so the first cell has the average, and in the second cell, I use the roundup function. But in this first cell, I mean this cell, two cell, I have used two different functions. First one is roundup, then the average. Can I interchange this function? I mean average first, then roundup. Can I do that? Can I do that? No, I can't, because so when you write a nested functions, nested means one function inside another function, right? So when you write a nested function, so you have to know the sequence, right? You have to know the proper sequence, otherwise it won't work, right? Because in the roundup functions, it asks a number that you want to round up, right? So my roundup value is this average value. For that, so I have to calculate the average within this roundup function, right? So I can't interchange these two, right? So you have to careful about that one when you write a nested functions. All right. So likewise, I can do that. I can round up all these numbers. Right. So I think most of the formula, yeah. So here we have basic things. So if you are interested in learning to these functions and everything, so you can try these exercises, right? So this document describe all the possibilities that we can use for a particular function, right? So go through this document. It's, yeah. This is also a very important one. So referencing. So I already told you about this one. So if you want to look or fix reference, so you have to use this dollar sign, right? Before the column number and the row number. It depends on the situation, right? Anyway, so likewise, we can use cross-referencing between the sheets too. I mean, let's say we have another sheet in our book. In this book one, we have another sheet. And we have another mark here. Let's say social sciences. Social science marks is available in sheet 3, and we have Right. So I want to add this data, and I will copy this data because this data. Right. So number one has I mean has 85 marks for social sciences, right? So then I want to add that part with this number. So I will show you this one. So I can select this one plus this one plus this one plus, and I want to add the social science marks too. For that, I will add the plus sign here and we'll click on sheet 3 and select B2, right? If you look at the formula bar, it's still showing the previous formula. I mean, the formula we have entered in the mark sheet 1, I mean, the first sheet, right? So that means it hasn't closed the link between I mean, the function. It hasn't closed the function. Even I am moving within these sheets, right? So it will keep the connection still. And when I press on this cell, so it will add the reference. I mean the address of this reference. So if you look at this one carefully, so you can see, it's not possible to increase this. All right, right. Yes. Right. So here you can see F2 plus FD2, sorry, plus E2 plus F2, then plus sheet 3. Sheet 3 means the name of this sheet, sheet 3, then exclamation mark after B2. Right. So, okay, I'll hit enter. Right. The value is 375. So here we have 290, and in the sheet 3 we have 85. So if you add 85 to 290, the result will be 375, right? So if you look at this formula, so you can see sheet 3. So we have added this part with these 4 values, right? So that means we can reference a different cells, different data available in a different sheets. Not only the sheets, but also with the different books too, right? So that means, let's say we have a book 1 here, and we have another book called, let's say, semester 1 results, like that, right? So we can link, or we can grab data from that page, that book, if we want, right? It is also possible. So referencing, so we can do that kind of work. So, but we have to mention the reference, I mean, the reference address clearly and correctly, right? So when you take data from different sheet, so you have to follow this procedure. First, you have to mention the sheet name, then exclamation mark, then appropriate cell or relevant cell, right? Right. So when I select this one, B2 represent common, right? So B2 represent common means B2 of this page. We select entire one, so it will show 85, right? That means it will direct to directed to the sheet 3 cell B2. Anyway, so this is also possible. So you can do this exercise, sheet 2. And yeah, referencing scales and built-in functions. Yeah, I have mentioned few built-in functions or built-in function. Some for add, average, min, max, count, right? So you can use, you can try this function, and yeah, you can do these exercises, right? So you can get the summation of these numbers and average, minimum, maximum value, right? Okay, easily calculate those, easily find out those information, those values using these built-in functions, right? Then this is also very important. So we talked about different function, built-in functions and nested functions. And also we can use Boolean functions too. That means simply you can use if and else function, which contains kind of, you can do some kind of Boolean operation inside a function. So mainly you can use these if functions, right? So in this exercise or example, I'll discuss about, so yeah, I have mentioned about this one, a count if. So that means it will count some kind of data set which follows or which passes through this if function. So that means, let's say you want to count how many students so how many student has taken to I mean more than 50 for maths. So you can simply count that one using Excel function, say count if, right? Okay, I will select this one, right? First, for the count if functions, you have to mention the range, right? The range means, so you have to mention which data set that you want to analyze. So I want to analyze this data set because maths, the marks for maths is available in the column C, from cell C2 to cell C11. Right? This is my range. Then the criteria. Right? Then the criteria. So what is the criteria that I want to show? I mean, want to take, I want to count if the marks greater than, let's say, 60. Just tell me the criteria for that one. So I want to take the count, the number of, so you can use this greater than, right? Greater than symbol, greater than 60. So my value is 60. Okay, I will show you what happens when I press enter this data, right? So it will give us a kind of window, and so it will give you error, right? Try to write this function count if, then say to 11 C11, then comma, because when you type this equation, this function, so it will give you a kind of hint. In the hint, you can see the what kind of data you have to insert for particular equation. So countif function. So you should have you should insert give a kind of parenthesis. Countif after open parenthesis, then range, then comma, then criteria, close parenthesis. So this is the criteria. I mean, the format that you have to take the action, right? So I give the range. I gave the range, and then I mentioned the criteria too, but it doesn't come right. So that means, so we have to mention this criteria in different way, right? So when you type criteria, right? When you give a criteria, so you have to mention it within a double quotation, right? For Excel. It is a little bit different in the Google Sheet, but most of the time, functions have same architecture and same style. So sometimes it has little variations. That means for Google Sheet, you don't need to give this quotation, double quotation marks, right? So you can simply type greater than 60. Right? But in Excel, you have to mention that one. Right. So there are four numbers. I mean, 4 students who has earned more than 60 for their maths. I mean, for the maths subject, right? If you have doubt, so you can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? We have almost 5 students. I mean, we have 5 students, but it shows as number 4. So that means we have to check this criteria. So in the criteria, I have mentioned the greater than 60. That means it will count the numbers which contains the value from 61 to I mean the infinity, right? So if you want to take equal values, I mean, if you want to count the 60 inside this criteria, so you have to mention equal sign here. So now it will count numbers, I mean, how many numbers available in this range equals to 60 or more than 60, right? So now we have number 5. Right. Right. I want to do another thing. So I will replace this one. Right. This data. Okay. So I want to show here pass or fail word. Right. So I want to show pass and fail word here according to their total marks. Let's say, or average, let's say average. So those who have the average of average more than 65. It's not fair. Anyway, let's say, yeah, more than 55, right? So I want to show those who have average more than 65 as pass, and also those who have not achieved 65 mark limit as fail. So can you do that? Send me the function for that one. So I want to indicate path sign for a student who has achieved more than 65 average, and I want to indicate a fail sign for a student who hasn't achieved that goal, right? Send me the equation for that task. So I'll give you a hint. So you can use if function for that task, right? Just Google about and Google if function, how to write a if function on Excel. हमारा देखे कलिया बन गई घाटी. Just type equals if, and you can use this helping to, right? If first you have to mention the a logical test, then value if true, then value if false, right? So I want you to write this the all equation and send it to me, so I can use that one to check how the it's working or not, right? Yes. කවුරුත් කරලා නැද්ද? කට්ටිය නැද්ද මේකේ participants කවුරුත් නැද්ද? Yes. So Kehan has his equation. If x2 equals x5, then pass. And if then also Indra has an if h2 greater than 55, then pass, or else fails. Okay, so I'll copy the Kehan's one first. So this is the function sent by Kehan. right? Yeah, it show pass, right? Okay, it's correct, right? Because the Kamal has earned 73 marks, and I'll move this until the end of the line. Right? Yeah, it shows pass, then false, right? False, pass, false, false, pass, false, false. But I want to show fail instead of this false, right? So then I will, so that means we have to, I mean, Gihan, I think you have to modify your equation. A little bit more, right? And so now I use the equation sent by Indra, right? Sorry, right? So now Indra's equation, he or she has used if, then H2 greater than 55, then pass and fail, right? So yeah, drag and drop this equation. Yeah, it's working, right? So, right, it's working. So yes, Indra, it's a good job, right? What she has found that one. I'll place another one sent by Danushka. So this is the equation. Right, it's give you an error because it will give you error because so he has mentioned that if H2 is greater than or equals 50, then pass, comma else. So in a if function, you don't worry about this else part because if you look at this help text, so it will show if logical state, value if true, value if false, right? So else part is also there, but you don't worry about that one and you don't need to mention else part here, right? You just need to mention the thing that you want to show if, I mean, in the else part, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes, use a different threshold, right? 50. Okay, so we can just do 60. So you can see the different answers. Right. Mm, okay, so in the LMS, I think you have exercise. You have an exercise, yeah. Activities, yeah, two activities. Okay, the first activity, right, you have to do the same thing. Open an Excel worksheet and enter the following data, calculate the total marks and the percentage for a student. Yeah, Chicken line. Worksheet at the same time. Yeah, right. Right. So in this activity, so you have to follow the same thing what we have done in the class. So here we have index number, names, practical marks and final marks, then total marks, percentage. So we have completed up to this point, and then grade. So for the grades, you can use simply if conditions, right? So you have to check whether the data, I mean, these data lays within given levels. For example, let's say, so you can use grading criteria for your, I mean, available in your grade book, right? Your university book, I don't know, your degree book, right? So in that book, you can see the grading criteria. I mean, the level of the threshold of these each and every mark. So you can use that one to calculate or to find out the grade for these students, right? So simply, I think A pass will give, if you have more than 70 or 75 marks, I will get A. Right? I don't know. Right? It's different from year to year. So anyway, so you can refer your degree book, I mean, grade university book, and then use that criteria to this sheet. However, I mean, anyhow, you want to show or indicate a proper grade for these percentages. Right? And then you have to calculate the number of students who have marks more than 550, number of students who have marks less than 50. So we have completed this part 2 in the class, and then total number of students 14. So you have to use the count function here, and then number of A's, number of B's, C, D, and F's. And after that, we have to make generate a graph. And this is a pie chart. So I will show you how to make generate a pie chart. Okay, so let's say to draw a pie chart, so you should have a kind of a summary summary of a data set. I mean, let's say you can simply count how many student has received this pass mark, and yeah, let's say we have pass 7 pass students and 3 fail students, right? So simply you can generate a graph for this data, right? So first of all, you have to select the whole data and then go to insert. And under the chart compartment, I mean space, so you can select the chart, whatever the chart type you want, right? So if you want to draw a pie chart, so you can use this one, right? Right. So if you're going to use a bar chart, you can use any of these chart type, right? So I use a basic pie chart for these to represent these two data. So these are headings and these are the data. So I have 7 student pass and 3 student fail, and that means the 70% of I mean circle should color pass color, and 30% of the circle should color fail color. Anyway, so here you have different chart styles, right? If you want, you can show those percentages, any kind of thing. So you can change the styles from here. And if you want to change the data set, so you can go to this one. I mean, select data, right? So in that data set, so when you select data, so it will show the series and pass and fail data, and so you can see the chart data range here. So anyway, simple fast. I mean this activity. So we'll ask. Yeah, you have to make that graph, right? So complete that one. And in the activity 2, it's a little bit different. And you have to, yeah, you can complete this one. Yeah, I'll tell you, no. So complete this one. And but activity 2, you have to upload this part as a assignment, right? So I'll give you another week. I mean, so in this week, we have to upload 2 Word document, 2 Word assignment. First one from, I mean, making a kind of report. And the second one is from mail merge part. Then the deadline for both activities, I mean, assignments will be on next Sunday, 8 a.m., right? Early in the morning. And for this one, activity 2, so the deadline will be on 14th of June, 8 a.m. So you will have, I mean, you have 3 more days, 3 days after a week, right, to complete and upload this document. So generator scatter plot data, interline plot data, find the equation. Yeah. For this part, I think you have to read about the part. I will discuss how to generate a plot of data, and yeah. So in this part, just read about the curve fitting and graph generating, and yeah. So you have to read about these things. Anyway, so in the next week we can discuss all these things, and also we can discuss then we can move into the next part, that is about presentation. Yeah, and if you have any questions regarding the Excel, you can ask. And in the next week I will try to show you how to generate a Google form, because one of your friends asked to show that one. So I will show you how to generate that one. I will make a Google form again in the next week, right? So I'll try to do my best to, I mean, complete all these things, I mean, including Google form one, and let's see some of the functions available in Google Sheet and Docs too. Okay. We have enough time, so we can discuss those things too. Right. So, any questions?
So, good evening.
Yes, great. Go ahead.
මේ සර් මට දැනගන්න පුළුවන් දැන් මේකේ අර අපි ඇවරේජ් එකේ ගන්නවනේ ඒ ඇවරේජ් එකට අපිට 1 2 3 4 කියලා එහෙම ලක් මාක්ස් අනුව දෙන්න පුළුවන් මොකක් හරි ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකක් හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්
1 2 3 4 අනුව කියලා කියන්නේ මට තේරුණා.
ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ලට අපි ස්ථානයක් දෙනවා කියලා හිතමුකෝ.
ඔව්.
එතකොට ඒ විදිහට අපි ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකක් ක්‍රියා ගන්න ඕනේ සර් කොහොමද?
ස්ටුඩන්ට්ලට ඒ කියන්නේ පන්තියේ පළවෙනිය කවුද දෙවෙනිය කවුද කියලා දාන්න.
ඔව් සර්.
එතකොට එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඔයාට මේ ලිස්ට් එකේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාට පුළුවන් මැක්ස් එකේ ඉඳන් මින් එක වෙනකන් සෝට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට සෝට් කියලා ඔප්ෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා.
ඔව් සර්.
එකක් සෝට් කියන එක මෙතන සරි. පිටම එකකින් අයින් කරන්න. sort කියන එක මෙතනින් use කරොත් එහෙම වෙන්නේ view කරන එක. මේ ටික arrange කරන එක විතරයි වෙන්නේ. එතකොට sorting function එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට sorting function එකේ යා array එකක් හදා ගන්නවා first element එකේ ඉඳන් ඒ කියන්නේ maximum එකේ ඉඳන් minimum එකට.
ඔව් සර්.
එතකොට sort කියලා function එකක් තියෙනවා. නිකන් Google කරලා එතකොට ඒක බලන්න පුළුවන්.
sure
ඔව්.
thank you sir.
එතකොට ඒකෙන් පුළුවන් වාට මේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙදි එයා හදනවා number 1 element එකට average ඒ කියන්නේ sorry total එක කවුද වැඩි කියලා. ඒක නෙවෙයි. so average එක හරි.
ඔව්
average එක ගත්තත් එකයි total ගත්තත් එකයි. total එක මත තමයි average එක depend වෙන්නේ.
defend
මේ දෙකෙන් කවුද? මේක sort කරන්න නැත්නම් මේක sort කරන්න දෙක එකක්. ඒතර sort එක හැදුවාම එයා පෙන්නනවා max එක කවුද කියලා. ඒ element එක කවුද කියලාත් එයා කියනවා. ඒතර ගොඩක් වෙලාට array දෙකක් එයා generate කරනවා. එකක් මේ ටික sort කරගෙන දාන array එක. ඊළඟට දාන්නේ එයාගේ index එක. index එක කියලා කියන්නේ මේ row number. හරි. එතකොට ඒක පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඉතින් if functions ලියන්න පුළුවන් වැඩිම එක කෙනා කවුද? max එක කෙනා කවුද? ඒතර එයාට number එකක් දෙන්න. ඊළඟට එක්කෙනා කවුද? එයාට number එකක් දෙන්න. ඊළඟ එක්කෙනා කවුද? එයාට number එකක් දෙන්න. එහෙම කියලා ඕනනම් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. මෙහෙම එක එක විදිහට ඔක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔය මම sum එක ගන්න විදිය පෙන්නන්නේ. ඒකට ක්‍රම කොච්චර තිබ්බද? ඒ වගේ කාට හරි function එකක් හදන්නත් පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් built-in function use කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. තා ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. assignment එක assignment එක මේ criteria ටික A B C D F නෑ මේකේ හරි එතන A B C D තියෙන ටික ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ grade book එක මම දන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කැම්පස් එකෙන් දෙන්න පොතක් ඒ පොතේ ඇති ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ criteria ඒ ටික බලන්න. ඒ ටික බැලුවාම මේ ඒක යනවා මේ levels mark කරගන්න. කියන්නේ මට මතක විදිහට 70ට වැඩි නම් E එකක් 60ට වැඩි නම් B එකක් 50ට වැඩි නම් C එකක්. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ එක වෙනස්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මම හිතන්නේ C එක දෙන්න ටිකක් තව පහළින් දෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 45න් හරි 40න් හරි C එක දෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ මම දන්නේ චුට්ටක ඒක බලන්න. මට තාම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ criteria ඒ කියන්නේ levels ආවේ නැහැ මේ exam එක කරාට පස්සේ නේ කියන්නේ. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන් grade book එකේ දාලා තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ university book එකේ දාලා ඇතේ මේ criteria කොහෙන්ද තියෙන්නේ. right? ඒව use කරන්න මෙතෙන්ට. මේ data ටික copy කරගන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒ Excel එකෙන් copy මේ PDF එකෙන් copy කරගන්න පුළුවන්. copy කරලා දැන් මේක නේ image එකක්. හැබැයි මේක copy කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ මේ part එකට මේ part එක තමයි වැදගත් මේක. මොකද අපි මේ books හදින්නේ නැහැ. මේක මේ functions එක ඉගෙන ගන්න කියලා දෙන්නේ. මේක තමයි වැදගත් මේක. මොකද අපි data set එකක් දාලා graph එකක් හදගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක සහ line එක fit කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඇයි fit කරන්නේ? මම ඒ වගේම ලබන සතියේ කතා කරන්නම් මේ ඒ කියන්නේ ටිකක් labs practical වලට ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙන එකක්. ඒතකොට ඇයි අපි එකක් fit කරන්නේ? ඒක මොකක්ද බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? එතකොට කොහොමද ඒක equation එක හොයාගන්නේ? ඒ වගේ ටිකක් මම ලබන සතියේ කතා කරන්නම්. එතකොට සහ මේ activity එකට related මොන හරි මේකට related නැත්නම් මේකට කිට්ටුවෙන් යන මොකක් හරි work එකක් මම ළඟදී කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ තනියෙන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ටික දාලා sensor 1 sensor 2 දෙක දාලා ඒකේ variation එක මොකක් හරි අඳලා අඳින්න පුළුවන් නම් තව එකක් fit කරලා equation එක ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක නියමයි. Google කරාම මේ ඕන තරම් ඒවා තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ මම මේ LMS එකේ දාලා තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ සමහර ඒවා refer කරන්න document. නෑ. ඒතකොට මේකේ තියෙන්නේ මේ තියෙන තව links extra links okay right? You can use that one right? Microsoft Excel business this one. Excel formula, right? Yeah. So this is a really nice YouTube channel, right? If you are interested in, right? If you are interested in learning Excel and Excel functions and those kind of stuff, so this is a really nice YouTube channel, right? Yeah, this is the activity. Right. Okay, so you don't have questions, so shall we start the session?